Hey, YouTuber family. This is Queen Renee coming back at you once again with another video. Today we are going to be doing story time. I haven't done one of these in a while, so we're gonna do a story time, and yeah, I hope you enjoy while I put on my makeup here. So first of all, let's just do a little bit of housekeeping. So, this is a channel where I talk about what I want to talk about when I want to talk about it. I may do box openings, subscription openings. I may talk about um, fasting if that's what I'm doing, or alternate fasting, what have you, story times, and also some Black history, little known Black history facts um, some days it's current events of things that are going on in this world right now. So it's pretty much just a hodgepodge of whatever I feel like talking about at the time. So today we're going to talk about the time I went to jail. So Um, I can, at this point in my life, I can sit back and I can laugh about it. Um, but at the time it was going on, it was a very, very, very hard thing that was happening in my life. Now, those that know me know I am an a law-abiding citizen for the majority. Um, I've never been in any trouble, never been arrested. And most people, when they say that they've been arrested or something, it's usually when they're younger, in the wild and crazy days or whatever. Um, but that was not the case for me. I never been in any type of trouble. Um, I think I've only had two speeding tickets in my life. Um, and neither one of the tickets went on my record. Um, so my driving record was pretty clean, and definitely my criminal record was really clean. Um, so let's just get on into this and let y'all know what happened. So I should have did this differently. Anyway, I met this guy when me and my significant other that I am with right now had broken up for a while. Um, we had been together for 5 years, and then we had broken up. Um, I, after he and I had split ways, I met this other guy. I met this guy, and for the sake of anonymity, we'll just call him Chris. So I met this guy, and he seemed like a pretty nice person or what have you. Um, it was just kind of like it was really really fast. The relationship just moved really really fast. Um, I met him online, and we started dating shortly thereafter. Um, like really really fast. I just cannot stress that enough. Too fast. Um, and I should have saw the red flags, but you know. I was not so much rebounding because um me and my guy had broken up like in February, and I had met this guy in June or the end of May, something like that. Yeah, the end of May. So anyway, met him. We started talking. Um, like he was so kind of, you could say, kind of clingy because he always wanted me to come over his house when I wasn't working. It was like always, are you coming over? Are you coming over? Da 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 da. I want to spend time with you. Yada yada yada. So we did this. Me going over there like seemed like every day, and I just some days I'd be like, I need to. I do have children because at the time my kids were still. I still had three of my children living with me. I only have the baby boy now that lives with me. The other two have moved back home to Minnesota. And my oldest one, he never lived here. He was not moving here when we moved here. He was already grown though. So when we moved here in 2012. So anyway, he would want me to come over all the time, and so I would go over to his house after I would go to work, get off of work or whatever. Um, and he would make a way to keep me there all the time. And it's just like, it would be like, you know, can't you just spend the night type stuff? And I'd just be like, you know, I need to go home or whatever. And he'd be like, oh, you can go, you can shower here and then just run home and put your clothes on in the morning and stuff like that. Well, this guy, the thing about it is I met him online, but he lived right down the street from my house. Like, literally down the street from me. And so, that became a little bit of a habit until I just was like, you know what? I'm tired of coming here and spending the night at your house all the time because he didn't have a bed. He had his mattress on the floor in the condo that he was living in. And I didn't think anything of it, because he had told me that he was moving. He was getting ready to move because I guess the landlord had sold the condo or what have you. So he was moving out. And I was so I didn't think anything of it. Um but anyway, so I at that point I was like, you know what, why don't you just come, can't you come to my house? Because like I said, I was tired of sleeping on a mattress on the floor at his house all the time. So I was like, why don't you just come and spend the night at my house? So I allowed him to come over, and he met my kids that night the first night he came here because I had been dealing with him for a few weeks. Um, but I hadn't brung him to my house yet. But the only reason I really brung him over here was because I was just tired of sleeping on that floor. And he just always wanted me to come over there and be and hang out with him and stuff all the time. So anyway, moving on. So he ended up coming to spend a night here a few nights. And around about like the first part of June, like I think like the 1st of June, he called me one day and he said, "Babe, I need you." And I was like, "Why? What's going on? What's wrong?" And he's like, "Oh, um, my the apartment that I was supposed to get fell through, and I have to um I have to move out of here. I had gave my notice or whatever, and I have to move out of here. So, and the apartment fell through. Da 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 da." So, and I was just like, I really didn't want to um go down that road with him, but so at the time, so he said, he's like, I'll give you I'll give you $500 a month um to split the rent or whatever, and little odds and ends or whatever, whatever. And he was like, and I'll give you my washer and dryer, because we had not too long moved here at the time, me and the kids, and we had only been here since April. We had moved in here in April. Yeah, in April. And so I didn't have a washer and dryer at the time. And he was like, I'll give you my washer and dryer, so um if anything happens, and we split ways or whatever, or when I move out, I'll just let you keep the washer and dryer for, helping me out or whatever. So I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So he moves in. So that was the second red flag. First was he's always trying to get me all the way to his house all the time. Second, all of a sudden now he needs me. This apartment fell through or what have you. So end up he moves in. Within 2 weeks of him moving in, me and him were clashing. We had like this big blowout, and over my daughter. Um, the guy next door telling him, well, him telling me that the guy next door was telling him that my daughter was sneaking guys in the house or whatever. And I'm like, how the heck could he even tell that over this fence? Unless he's watching my house or whatever. But and it wasn't true. Um, it was all a made up figment of his imagination. But no, he not a figment, because he was just a liar. But anyway, so he it just started out really ugly. Started to get ugly real quick, and so we we went back and forth for a long time, for a while. And I think at that point he had been here like 9 months, and or close to. And he he I had I had a magic wand. And for anyone who knows what that is, and I'll just leave it at that. But he got mad about the magic wand and was jealous of the magic wand, and he broke it. He just one day picked it up, and he we got into a big argument, and he picked it up and he just broke the head off of it, and the little springs. Like, so he breaks my wand, and at this point I am sitting on the bed, And I'm like, at this point, I am livid at him. I'm just like, you know what? I'm over this. I'm not going to argue with you anymore. And he just wanted to argue. And I did not. So I put my headphones on and he's like screaming at me, like, Renee, Renee, and I'm like ignoring him because I'm mad and I don't want to argue anymore. So he's like, so you ain't gonna talk to me? You ain't gonna talk to me? So at this point, he snatches my earbuds out of my ear and breaks them. I lose it. So I jumped up and I I think I jumped up and I punched him in the chest. And he was like, "Don't put your hands on me! Don't you put your hands on me again!" I'm and he's just like in my face, just talking. And I was like, "Just leave me alone. Go away." So he's just talking and talking and talking, and he's got this cigarette dangling out of his mouth. At this point, I'm so ticked off because he will not, he just won't stop. He won't go away. So at this point, I smack him across the, like, go to smack the cigarette out of his mouth because it's just irritating me. And I'm steady saying, leave me alone. Now, I know I was wrong because I shouldn't have put my hands on that man. But he tore up my stuff and then ripped the headphones out my ears and just being really belligerent. And he was just calling me names and everything. And I was every bitch in the book. And I was low down and I was dirty and I was this and I was disloyal. It was just a whole lot. So we end up, he ends up, forget what, like he takes me and he like body slams me on the bed and he hits me 2 times. He hit me in my mouth. He punched me twice in my mouth and busted my lip. So at this point, I'm over it. And I'm like, you get out of here, da 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 da. He's like, something, something. And then somehow, I can't even remember, somehow he ends up calling the police. He called himself calling the police on me because he thought I was going to call the police on him. So I just wanted him to get out. So he called the police, was telling the police, um, that I assaulted him, whatnot. So at this point, I've never been in anybody's trouble. So at this point, I start to cry. And mind you, I'm bleeding. He's not. Because I didn't even hit him hard, but like in his chest. And I didn't even hit him like in the mouth. I just slapped the cigarette. So I started crying and I'm like, he hit me and I'm bleeding. He hit me, he assaulted me, he is doing all of this and that and that. And I told them why. So he gets arrested and he goes to jail. When he gets out, he comes over trying to talk about he needs to get his things or whatever. So the police had came to the house, I guess with him, or I don't remember how they ended up here. I don't know if he might have called them or something. But anyway, so they come because I'm telling him, you don't have, I had moved everything of his to the front room. I was like, you don't have anything in that back. You don't have anything in this house. Everything you came here with is right here. And so then he had wanted his wash and dryer back. And I was like, those are my washers and dryer because you gave them to me to move in here. So we go back and forth about that. The police tell him, look, dude, you need to just leave because technically he still lived here. Because in Texas, their laws are really stupid. Like Because if they're at your house for more than 2 weeks and they happen to get mail at your home or have anything at your house, they live there. You don't have a right to put them out. So they were like, well, ma'am, we really can't make him leave, really, because he does live here. But they're telling him, look, the police is like, I'm not going to tell him that, but technically, if he knows the law, he knows he doesn't have to go anywhere, which he did know the law because apparently this is his MO and this is something that he's done before. So he they were like, look, just leave because all we're going to end up doing is coming back here. Um because you guys are going to start fighting. So you need to just leave. So, and he was like, ah, I should get my washer, blah, blah, blah. And they was like, look, that's a civil matter. We ain't got nothing to do with that. Take it up in court. So they leave. He leaves. They leave. He comes back. And he's just like, would you just come outside and talk to me? Just come outside and talk to me. And I'm like, what? So he's like, I just want my washer and dryer. Because I need a place to stay and I need to sell them so I can get some money, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know what? If it'll get rid of you, then you go ahead and you take them. Take your little washer and dryer. I was like, because I'll get another one. So he takes his washer dryer, put it in his van, and he leaves. All right. So let's cut to 9 months later. Um, he's back. I don't remember exactly what happened. He just started calling me and texting me all the time, and then he started coming over, and I was dumb enough. I was sneaking him in the house because the kids didn't like him. And by this time, the only one that was here was my youngest son. So the only one that lived here was my youngest and me. And so I would sneak him in the back and stuff, and because I didn't want to hear my son, giving me the business about the fact that this man was coming over. So me and my son ended up, he found out eventually. So we had to go, we were going out of town. And so at the time we had one cat. And we were going out of town and we needed somebody to watch the cats while we were gone. And which one? So he was like, "Oh, I'll watch the cat for you. I'll watch Sebastian for you while you go out of town and make sure, and feed him and everything." Because apparently he was supposed to be living with his grandmother. So I go to on vacation with my son to go see my mom because my mother had gotten married, and we wanted to go, to the reception and everything that they were having. They were having a big reception. So we went out of town. Everything was good. He was only supposed to stay that week, and when we got back, going on about his business. Well, that didn't happen. When we got back, he had moved all his stuff back in. So, and as I told you, um, Texas law, because he had been here and he had brung his stuff in here, I couldn't put him out. But at that point, I really I'll be honest, I really wasn't looking to really put him out at that point because we were getting along pretty good. We hadn't had any issues since we had start, dealing again. So, anyway, so we're in here and going along. We would get into it. We stayed into it all the time, just all the time, because he could not leave well enough alone. He always wanted to pick, and he had some issue with my kid to where he always was, picking at my kid and starting to mess with my kid, and so then, and me and him would just get into it all the time because he was, I, I never knew what, um, oh God, um, one of them people that always manipulates stuff, and I can't think of the name right now, but he was one of them. He just always manipulates and always, does something, finds a way to get his way. So let me hurry up and get, because I'm already 26 minutes in. I'm sorry. So we get to the point where one night, so one day I had told him, I said, look, I am moving out of here um, in April when my lease is up. I am moving out of here. And so you had better be trying to find you somewhere to be because I'm not going to be here. I'm finna move. So, so you've gotten your 30-day notice. Um, so during this time, and only reason I did that was because I wanted him to get out. And I was like, you've been served your 30-day notice. I'm going to move out of here. So, you know, so you'll be gone, gone, gone. So anyway, so it's getting close to the time for him to be looking for himself a place to stay and get up out of here. He didn't want to do that. So he was trying to make nice with me. So he would always be like, taking me out and buying me food and stuff and buying me stuff and leaving me money and all types of stuff, trying to make good, you know. So I wouldn't keep my promise to that he needed to move around. So he's like, oh, one day he's like, oh, so do I still need to be looking for a place to go? You still gonna move out? Da 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 da. And I said, yeah. I said, I believe that's what's the best thing for us is to go ahead and just cut ties. And he was like, oh. After that, things went downhill. So one day we had got into it really bad, and then I was at work, and he had sent me a message, and he was like, I bought you dinner. And I was like, okay. And I was trying to be nice because we still had to live in this house together until the 1st of April. So I was like, okay. And I'm like, I'm gonna stop at the store. Do you want a beer? And he was like, no, a Coke. And I said, okay. Then he texted back and he said, no, he said water. And I said, okay. I said, so you want water? And he said, yeah. So I go to the store, I buy me a beer, and I buy him a water, and I bring it in. When I come in, um, he's laying on the bed, and I do this, and I say, here, with the beer. He's like, don't you talk to me like that. And I'm like, he was like, there's a way for you to talk to people, and da 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 da. And he's like snapping off, and I said, yeah, there is a way that you talk to people. So he's like, yeah, there is. And we're just back and forth. It's like kid shit. And he's like, I go in my closet And because I have a routine. Every day I come home from work, I go straight to my closet, I take my clothes off, and I go take a shower and put my night clothes on and, call it a day. So, and this is every day. So I go in my closet, I get my night clothes, and I go to the bathroom and I take a shower. Now at this point, he's still talking. He's still in there talking crap and acting the fool, and I'm just like pretty much over it. I'm ignoring him at this point. So he's like steady trying to talk. You da 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 da. You this and you that. I ain't say nothing. So I go in and I go take my shower. When I take my shower and I get out, when I get out of the shower, he is still talking. He's still in there acting a fool, cutting up. So I come out, I sit on the bed, and at this point, he tries to give me like some money, um, some change, I guess, to pay for the water. And I take the change and scoot it back over towards him. I don't need your money. I got a job. You the one that ain't got no job. So um, I take the money and I push it back over there to him, and he grabs it and throws it at behind the bed on the wall, towards the wall, and it goes behind the bed. So at this point, he's like saying something, and I'm like, "Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you," and we're just going back and forth. And so he's like, "Say one more word, and it's about to get ugly." And I was like, "Fuck you, dude." I go to reach for my beer. He grabs the beer and he takes the beer and throws it at my head. Now, when he throws it at my head, I duck like this, and the beer goes flying past my face, and it hits it hits. I had a full length mirror hanging on my wall, and it hit the mirror and broke the mirror. It just shattered. And so you could hear the beer like coming out. And I said, now you vandalizing my stuff. I said, you going to jail. I'm calling the police. So he was like, call him, da da da. And so I was like, I had dialed 911, and then I didn't let it ring. I hung up before it dialed through. So um, I was like, you know what? I don't need the police for you. Mistake on my part. Because I should have called the police. So um, he ends up saying, like, oh, okay. So I had told him, I said, get out. That's it. I'm done. Get out of here. And he was like, I ain't got to go nowhere. I live here, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yep. I was like, I may not can put you out of this house, but you don't got to sleep in this room. So I was like, get out of my room and go down to that other room. Because I have 4 bedrooms, and it's just me and my son. I was like, go down there to that other room where your stuff is at, and you could sleep in there. And so he was like, these are my box springs, da 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 da. And I said, I didn't ask you for them anyway, because he took my box springs that I had on my bed and got rid of them. So where you going? Okay. So he took my box springs, and he had thrown them away and went and got some new ones for my bed. And I was like, you can have them. So I had a king size bed, and I went like this to kind of like I'm going to toss the mattress, but you know, it's too heavy. So, but it moved to the side. And when it did that and I started throwing his stuff, he had like all this stuff, clothes and stuff for some reason on my bed. So I threw, I was tossing his stuff off of my bed. And when I tossed his stuff off the bed, he had a knife up under all of these things that he had on the bed. And I saw it, and it's like we saw it at the same time. And he went to grab it, and I snatched it first. So when I picked it up off the bed, and he's like, give me my knife. And I'm like, I'm not giving you nothing. First of all, you already try to hit me with a 32-ounce can of beer. So what makes me think that you're not, you know, gonna try something with this knife? So I wouldn't give it to him. And he's like hollering, hollering, hollering. So at this point he's walking up on me and he's like, give me my stuff. Give me my shit, give me my shit. And he had called me so many bitches, and I was so many fat bitches, and um fat sloppy bitch, and all kinds of stuff. I was just everything. So um he ended up walking walking up towards me and was like, give me my shit, bitch. And I was like, nope, I'm not giving you nothing. I'm not giving you nothing. So at this point he's like, I'm finna sling you and put your head through this fucking wall. So at this point I'm like, do not put your hands on me. So now, I know I told you guys before about when he went to jail, but I didn't tell you about the time that he actually bust my lip over here, over on this side. Yeah, right here. When he threw a plate of food in my face. He slapped a plate of food in my face and cut my lip. So, and I hadn't touched him that day. And this day I hadn't touched him. And he's just like, I'm going to sling you and I'm going to put your head through this fucking wall if you don't get my stuff. And I'm like, don't put your hands on me. At this point, he takes a step and he said, I said, give me my shit. And I said, do not put your hands on me. And at this point, I took the knife and I didn't point it at him. I just flicked it open and I had it down by my side. And I said, don't put your hands on me. And he said, bitch, you better kill me. You better kill me. Because if you don't kill me, I'm going to destroy you and your fucking kids. Now, first of all, what my kids got to do with this? You always had a problem with my kids because my kids mean more to me than you do. So at this point, I could see that that wasn't going to turn out well. So I decided I just threw the knife down the hall. And I was like, so he goes down the hall to get it. And then he comes back and we still arguing or whatever. And somehow I walk out of my room into the hallway and he got in the well, I'm missing this part. So at one point he had a cigarette in his mouth and he took the cigarette and he flicked the cigarette on my wall. It was still lit. Just flicked the cigarette and it hit the wall and then it fell on the carpet and I could see it burning the carpet. I could see it smoldering in the carpet. So I went past him and I kind of did this past him to get to the cigarette to get it before it burned a hole in the carpet. And he was like, you assaulted me. You assaulted me. And when he said I assaulted him, I was like, get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, whatever. And I just turned around and went into the hallway, and he was saying something, and he slammed the door behind me. And when he slammed the door behind me, of course, that pissed me off, because how is you shutting me out of my own room? I'm the one pay the bills here. This is my house. So I go back in the room, and he's locked himself in the room. So he's holding the door, he's locked the door, and he's like, I'm not I'm like, open this door, and I'm kicking the door, and I'm like, bitch, open this door. Open this door. You don't shut no door in my house. Try to close me out. And all of a sudden I hear him saying, his whole demeanor has changed. He's like, I'm not opening the door until the police get here. And I'm like, wow, this punk done called the police on me. So he's like, and I'm like, open this door. And he's like, I'm not opening the door until the police get here. I'm not opening the door until the police get here. So I go in my son's room. I don't have no shoes on. I go in my son's room, and I slide on his shoes, and I get his key because my purse is still in that room. And I grab his keys, and I go to the back, because the back his our keys open both locks. They're the same key. So I go to the back door, which is in my bedroom, and every time I would try to unlock the lock, because it's got two locks. Every time I try to unlock the one lock, he'll lock the other. So we back and forth, back and forth. Well, at this point, I'm like, this punk. So I had called the police on him too. And so I'm outside, and the police come. And when the police get here, I'm telling her what happened. Now, mind you, I don't know. I don't know to lie, because I felt like I hadn't done anything wrong. So I'm telling her what happened, and she was like, all right, I'll be back, and I'll go talk to him, and I'll be back. So she comes in, she talks to him or whatever. She comes back to me, and she says, so you